when you can actually attune yourself to the fact that you're living in this field called the earth. It's an energy field. And when you can attune yourself to living in this field with all its creation laws, because every field, it works like that in a computer program. It has its basic program. It has its basis like Windows, like Microsoft. It has the basis on which it runs. And within that, you can create all kinds of apps and programs as you wish and expand, but you need to have the foundation. So the earth is like that. It gives you this playing field in which there's certain laws that you need to comply with, because if you don't, it's going to whack you. So today I wanted to talk about fear, because that's what's happening to all of us at the moment with what's happening in the world, is at some form or level, you're going to be feeling fear and you're going to be feeling afraid. So then, strangely enough, I found amongst my notes, I know to anyone else it would look like chaos, but to me it's absolute order. I found something out of order here amongst my notes. And I thought to myself, let me just check in my file why it's out of order. And then I came across this writing. Now, here, I honestly do not recall ever seeing this. It's called The Empty Cup. And it says underneath, share. And then it says yesterday at 12:11 p.m. Now, I don't know who wrote this. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know who wrote this, but I'm compelled to share it with you because it's called The Empty Cup. So let's begin. And before we start, as is customary in our community, to say I give myself permission to receive my highest good, and to give me permission to support you this morning to receive your highest good, and of course to give yourself permission to be pleasantly surprised many times in the day. So say it as often as you remember. I give myself permission to be pleasantly surprised. So we welcome you here. Maybe you can take a few moments to accept that. We recognize that you desire insight and direction here, and we will bring that. But before we do, allow us first to extend our welcome. And we say, allow us, because it's also possible that you do not allow it, that you flip over this part of the conversation quickly in order to get to the more important things. It is possible that you sit where you are and you hear us, but you do not really hold the truth of what we are bringing deeply in your heart. So let us say it again. We welcome you. This means we want you. It means we love you coming here. It means that to connect with you like this is wonderful. If you can just accept even a little bit of that, maybe your understanding of who you are will begin to become accurate. Now, I just want to reiterate to you that there are some words in this writing that I wouldn't normally use in the way that I use semantics, but I'm reading it as it is on these papers. So we cannot convince you of who you are. We can't write out an essay telling you the truth about your beauty, your bravery, and your ability to make a difference in the world around you. Let me just check who is on active camera. There's someone's mic is on. Can I just check who it is? Nicholas, your mic is on. Mute. Thank you. There we go. Active cameras. So we can't write an essay and present it to you, and that will mean that you accept it. We cannot offer it up to you. We will today a fuller idea presented, and you can then choose whether that is something that you can relate as to who you are. But we cannot choose that you accept that. The last decision is always left to the human being. That's true. There is a time when we make a last decision, even if we're choosing, isn't it? So God doesn't get in the way of your choices, as maybe you have noticed. Spirit can bring you toward people or places or opportunities, and Spirit uh, uh, can also bring you to understanding and insights, but cannot decide on your behalf what you will take and what you will reject, what you will receive and what you will reject. So we will offer you here today, and we have begun already to plant some ideas of the truth for you. But it will be your choice whether you believe it or not, whether you accept it or not, whether you integrate it or not, and whether to begin to live that step by step or not. Because if you're going to expose yourself to teachings, and now I interject, I'm sharing with you as I'm going along. If you now get that no matter what endeavor you're going to undertake, it is going to happen step by step. You cannot take that out of the equation. It will happen step by step. So we are very delighted to be like this with you. It is so beautiful for us to see your presence, and we're going to call it today your unknowingness. Maybe that surprises you. Maybe you think it's better to be in the world in a state of real knowing, and the most productive are the ones who know themselves. Right, we'll stay here for now. And who know the world and the way it works. We want to say something different to you. Let us put it in an analogy for you. Let us say that you are holding a cup. And let us say that it's full of delicious coffee. It's coffee that you have been drinking for years. You know it. You are in a state of knowingness. You know this coffee, and you are in a state of havingness because you are having this coffee in your cup. Imagine there arrives a waiter near you, and she's carrying a pot of magnificent Turkish coffee, and she says that it is the best coffee she's ever tasted. You have only 1 or 2 sips of your cup, and she comes along and offers you something better. If you hold out your cup and she pours the brilliant new coffee into it, then very soon your cup is going to spill over. And you will just have a mixture of the old coffee you know and the new coffee that you don't. The other option is that you have available is to say no thank you to a better coffee because you've got what you need. And the third option is that you have to throw out that coffee that you have. You know it's good and you've got it, but you take the risk of throwing it out and having your cup filled with something that proves to be infinitely better. And you never go back to what you knew. We are illustrating to you here the benefit of not knowing. You are in your life where you are in your life at the moment is that you have an empty cup. You are not yet full of knowing, and you are not full of having either. And if we may be as bold as to say that that is the most beautiful position from which to reinvent yourself, from which you can begin to reimagine life. The ones that are too full of knowing and too full of having are the ones who miss out on the benefits of a new experience, a better experience. That delicious Turkish coffee will not be theirs until they give permission to empty their cup. When last have you given permission to have an empty cup? new experiences, or that some are calling transformation. I call it trance. It's a trance power, which I still want to talk to you about in the future. It's a power that we find everywhere in nature, but we don't recognize it. We like to call it transformation. So because it always has to give us a form behind the trance. Nature doesn't always go to form. So transformation is a good word, but look at the actual trance, the trance state. When you start going into deeper states of consciousness, alpha and delta, you start going into trance. Trance. That's where the transformation happens, because that brings it into the earth. That brings it into the physical plane. But you first have to go through the other planes of existence to make it a reality here, so that the protons can respond to your very DNA, which is now scientific proof. You can go look it up. Dr. Greg Braden talks about it very eloquently. So, new experiences, or what you call transformation, because you're attached to the physical earth, is only possible when you have been prepared to have an empty cup, when you're prepared to not know. And what is the first thing? And to not have. What are the things that challenges us, that grips us with fear every day? Is because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. This morning, oh, and the chickens are serenading us, and the dogs, and this is the place that this is the cosmic kitchen. You know, the cosmic kitchen is a hot place. What did I write here earlier? You know, when you enter the cosmic kitchen, be ready to feel the heat. You know, Gordon Ramsay says it's Hell's Kitchen. Oh, Jung says it's the darkness within. Oh, the ruthless shadow of the psyche. Yeah, we cook up a storm in our cosmic kitchen. And me, I'm Mama C. I show you the sacred recipes of life. And you need to gather your own ingredients. You get the recipe here, but not the ingredients. And every feeling that you choose to have is an ingredient that you're putting in the land of life to make for you the sacred recipes in the cosmic kitchen. That's how it works. I can give you the sacred recipes, and boy, I give good recipes. I make delicious recipes possible. Timeless truth by which things work, by which the earth plane operates for billions of years before you even came along. Here we reference the work of the masters of recipes are wonderful things, especially the timeless recipes, the ones that have been around since the beginning of time. That's what maintains life as we know it. That's what allows us to trust, to believe that there's, and to know our own truth, to receive the rewards, to live wonderful results, to experience acclaim, and to feel like an example, and to have recognition in who we are, not what you do, who you be. Don't look for the recognition in what you do. Recognition and approval is withheld all the time in this world, let me tell you, to make you feel insignificant, inadequate, and not enough, not good enough. It's withheld. Don't look for the approval in others. There is no strength in it. You need to know who you are. You need to know who you be. So let's see what this message brings for us today. I'm very interested. So now let me just find where I was. Not everyone in this world is programmed with the same desires. Not everybody wants it. You imagine everyone wants metamorphosis, transformation, entrance into their most beautiful life, but not all choose it. We see from your idealization and identification with the butterfly, we see what you are saying is that you want metamorphosis. You want the beautiful life. You want the beautiful butterfly. No less than that. That's what you want to have. We see that what you are saying is that you want the metamorphosis. No less than that. You want what the butterfly does. It can flutter, it can be free, it can enjoy, it can explore. It changes from one way of being into a completely lighter, freer way of being. But first, if you notice this with the butterfly, first it has to stop being what it is now. There is a period when the butterfly is no longer a caterpillar and it's not yet a butterfly. That period we all miss. There is a period when the butterfly is no longer a caterpillar and not yet a butterfly. It is that time that the butterfly is in the cocoon where the magic is happening. But before the magic happens, that little caterpillar must be prepared to throw away, give up its very identity. If the caterpillar was not prepared to stop being a caterpillar, it was clinging onto itself and it was not prepared to let go of being a caterpillar, then it couldn't go through the cocooning phase and certainly not emerge as a beautiful butterfly. That's exactly the same as we talked about earlier. If you are not prepared to throw out the coffee you have no chance of experiencing something infinitely better. There can be no change, people. There can be no change if something doesn't discontinue. It has to stop so that something new can begin, and that is what we refer to as change. What we're saying to you is this. Before metamorphosis can happen, everybody has to be at a place where they don't know. And this is written in bold. Can you see there, that black part there? It was actually put in bold. What we are saying to you is this. Before metamorphosis can happen, everybody has to be at a place where they don't know. Otherwise, they will not accept the new. And it takes many people hard work and sometimes years of pain before they will acknowledge that they do not know. And before they have a point where they do have all the answers, all the awareness, all the plans, but that point can only be achieved when you can acknowledge, I don't know. And it's not when you are asked to take ownership for something that you can say, I don't know. Let's see what we're going to find here. So I'm going to read that to you again. It takes many people hard work and sometimes years of pain. My own life is testimony. Before they will acknowledge that they do not know. I teach best what I need to learn most. What is this place of do not know? It's when we go into fear. When we go into this immense fear of life. When we go into this immense fear of what's going to happen to us, where will we go, who's going to look after us, what's going to happen to us, that's the do not know. You live with that every day of your life. And before they have a point where they do not have all the answers, all the awareness, all the plans, that's where we are. Your psyche, your mind, your energy, your knowing, where you've lived, cannot give you all the answers that you demand from yourself every day. That's why you're going to fear, why you are afraid, because you think that you're not going to know what to do. But that's where you now need to be. You need to make peace with things that you do not know. There's many things that you do know already, but there's a lot of things that you do not know, and you can't demand from yourself all the time to know. And let's continue. Next sentence is, so now we've established, we are saying to you is this, before metamorphosis can happen, everything has to be at a place where they do, everybody has to be at a place where they don't know. And And you are already there. You are an empty cup. You are full of your own sureness. You are not full of your own sureness. Even if you think that, you are not full of your own sureness. You are not full of the present idea of who you are and who you should be. You question that every day. When someone makes you feel insignificant, when someone makes you feel inadequate, when someone makes you feel not enough. You are already there. You are not full of your own sureness. You are not full of a, as some of you call, a perfect idea, a preset idea of who you are and who you should be. You know, people sit with me and they say, if only I can know what my life purpose is, only if I can find my passion. You already have it. You are not attached to yourself as being this kind of way. You are not attached to a career. You are not attached even to a place. And that is the very best kind of openness there can be. We must become detached. We know it's frightening to have an empty cup. We know you look at other people and they have full cups. And you think that that is right. And you think that they are better and they are more powerful and they have full cups of coffee and they are drinking what they know and they have a lot of knowledge and they have a lot of having. They have a lot. And we know you think that it's better to have a full cup of coffee than an empty one. We're not saying that it's wonderful to live forever with an empty cup. We know that it's pleasurable to drink coffee. We'll continue using our analogy, but what we are saying is that not only those who are prepared to sit with an empty cup for some time are those who will only those who are available to sit with an empty cup are the ones who's going to know that there is a full cup waiting. There's a full cup of coffee. There's even better coffee. Which is our way of saying to you that only when you are prepared at a certain set of times in your life, only when you are prepared not to know, only when you are prepared not to have, can you be wide open to allow for your biggest metamorphosis. The caterpillar first has to go through an intense period of unknowing. For a while, the caterpillar is in the cocoon. He's neither a caterpillar nor a butterfly. For a while, hear us carefully. For a while, the caterpillar has no identity. He's no longer crawling on the earth, eating as many leaves as he can find. He's no longer participating in the world at all. Have you noticed? There's a period when the caterpillar is not in the world and is not having an identity of any kind. He's not a caterpillar and he's not something else. He doesn't know that he's turning into what he's turning into. And have you noticed that too? You don't know what your life is turning into. You don't know what to do next. You've got to choose, should I choose this job? Should I choose that option? Should I go this? Should I go there? The reason that your soul loves butterflies is because the journey of the butterfly is also the journey of you. But we are talking to you in detail about the journey of the butterfly because people forget that the butterfly was first something different. And they forget that for a while the butterfly was nothing at all. They felt like a nobody, nothing. They forget that. They see a beautiful free creature living as she chooses and they forget the journey. And they forget what steps the butterfly had to take before emerging in that way. Everything here on earth happens in steps. If you climb up the ladder, it happens in steps. If you run a race, it happens in steps. No matter how fast you go, you still have to do it in steps, one step at a time. If you crawl, it's one step at a time. One of those steps includes where you are now. We're not all in the same cycle. Where you are now is where you're meant to be. Where you are now is perhaps having an empty cup. and not knowing your path and not knowing what to do next, not knowing even who you are. Well, I certainly don't know who I am at times. I certainly don't know who I am at times. This morning, I created such a crisis around nothing, because not knowing is for me, especially when it comes to IT, because it's something that I really am not knowing. And IT for me always represents not knowing. I sit here and I share this with you because I also learn. I learn the most, and I learn the best from what I need to teach. Because we're in the cosmic kitchen. I'm teaching you the recipes of life here right now. Not knowing the answers, not knowing the right way to live, not knowing, the path to your highest good, the path to your highest self, the path to God, and so on. It's very few human beings who are brave enough to sit long enough with the not knowing, with the empty cup. It's very, very few who are brave enough to just sit there, and even fewer who are brave enough to talk about it and tell us what it's like sitting there, being in that place. Because people pretend a lot. And when you pretend, you are busy with uncontested resentments. Because if you pretend that you're feeling okay. It's uncontested resentment. It's a resentment, but you're not contesting it. And that's what pretend really is. And uncontested resentments robs you of so many things in your life. If you feel resentful, you must always know that somewhere along the line you have compromised your own truth. You've compromised what's important to you. You've compromised your own priorities. And if you remember, place the oxygen mask over own nose and mouth. You must be able to breathe, even in emergencies, before you can assist fellow passengers. That's why you were wearing a mask in COVID, because you were making sure that you are okay. And most of the time, you think it's wrong to have an empty cup. And we think that it's part of what is required. We think that it's part of what is required of a full metamorphosis. And you think it's wrong not to have a certain and clear identity. And we think it's what many people are missing. And so, they transform just a little bit, but not to the degree that the butterfly metamorphosizes. So even though we can recognize and respect the place that we are in as being fearful and unsure, even though we know that according to the world, it's better that you know and that you are sure, and even though you're comparing yourself to other people all the time and you think that you're falling short because your cup is empty. And even though all of that, feel excited for the infinite space around you. Because that life is a grand mystery with an infinite number of possibilities. So many people are so full that they can't possibly bring themselves to something new, to something better. They are full of their own identity. For example, they are so sure of themselves as a teacher or a healer or a poet or a mother. They are so full of that identity that it begins to get very full around them. Others are very full because of all they know. They know exactly what is the way to live. They know exactly how to manifest dreams. They know exactly how love works. They know exactly how to raise children. They know exactly how to run a business and make money. And they're so full of what they know. But there's no space for life to bring something better. They don't even hear us knocking on the door. They are so full. Others are so full of having all the things they have around them, all the gadgets, all the entertainment, all the space to live and take care of, and all the friends and all the engagements. They are so full of having and doing that they also don't leave enough room for divinity to trickle in, let alone for enough. Divinity to come in to create metamorphosis is equal to that of the butterfly. And this is not a religious gathering, please, I'm not punting any religion here. But if you look at the word divinity, is divinity not that highest good that you strive for, that ultimate in yourself? Is that not really what we can understand with divinity? It's the pinnacle. It's the pinnacle of your own passion. You know, when I had to name my mandala in a recent exercise that we did in the Jung Masterclass Psychology exercise, I called it the gateway to my pinnacle of passion. That's what I called my mandala. Because don't you think that metamorphosis, when you can work on yourself, when you can actually look at your cup and identify, you must know what your cup is. If you don't even know the cup, how can it be full or empty? Know what your cup of life is. Know what your cup of life feels like, so that you can actually enjoy what's in that cup. And now, if we throw everything out that's in the cup, like happened with me this morning, everything was thrown out of the cup that I had. I thought I had it all organized and everything was going to be amazing. And suddenly I sit down here and nothing works. Nothing. No, I couldn't even open my Gmail. And suddenly my cup was empty. What did I do with that experience? I made it a crisis. I made it a crisis when my cup became empty, instead of to see the wonderful opportunity of how supported I am. Because that's another thing about me. I don't believe that I have support. I don't think about the fact that I'm supported. And yeah, life was giving me an opportunity to see just how much support I have. Because those inherent beliefs that we form when we are little kids, when we are small children, between the age of birth and 7 years of age, those beliefs we live with. And I had that belief, I saw that belief in my family, that support was not something that was prevalent in my environment. So life gave me that opportunity to experience that from the beginning, so that I could see how supported I am, because I arrived here with that belief. From when I was a baby, I know that I never felt supported, and for various reasons. But, you know, one of the things was that my mother used to leave me crying in my crib because she believed that I was too fat. She didn't want to feed me. So I suppose I have reason to feel unsupported if I look at that tiny baby. But now I'm an adult. Why must I still believe that? It's not true. You know, I'm an adult now, so I don't need to believe that I'm not supported, because once upon a time, many years ago, I don't want to give away my age, my mother left me in my crib to cry because she didn't want to have a fat baby. Gosh, you should see me today. I did very well over the years, Mom. Especially when I can share an afternoon with wonderful women like yesterday, and experience the Epicurean table that was shared with us. It was simply delightful. So here you sit with an empty cup, with space around you, and you have space. You have space in your identity because you don't know who you are. Infinite possibilities. You have space within your time because you're not attached to the requirement of a job at the moment. You have space around where you are going to live, which is unusual. You see, I told them yesterday, I'm going to cough today because I smoked a cigar yesterday. I love smoking cigars. I stopped smoking years ago, but a cigar with a nice, beautiful 1983 Cabernet Sauvignon gold label red wine, donated to us by Sonia. It was magnificent, and I haven't had red wine for so long, but it was the most excellent 39-year-old red wine that I've ever tasted. What a blessing. You have space around you where you're going to live. We invite you to do the unthinkable, and that is to sit with your empty cup. And if you can, to start feeling deeply thankful. There is no reason for you, and it will not be, to sit with an empty cup for long. Don't have to be for long. We will move you into a path that which will assist you to begin to fill your cup again, to begin to refashion your identity and the other aspects of your life. This will come. But if you rush this emptiness, if you're too scared of it, if you're too much in fear, if you're too resistant of your own unsureness, then you can go and force your cup to be filled. But it won't be with the very best quality of Turkish coffee available. It will be a compromise. It will be something less excellent. Many people do that all the time. There are few who have the courage to sit with the emptiness for very long. And lots of them in resisting the emptiness, and they go fill their cup with whatever comes along, just not to sit with the unknowingness, just not to sit with that feeling of, I feel so empty. When they do that, and it's okay, because one day too they will taste the Turkish coffee. One day too they will fly as a butterfly. They are just delaying it. And they are going around in the same cycle over and over and over that is not required. Isn't this a beautiful message? I'm loving sharing it with you. I don't know who wrote it, but thank you. I receive with grace. So we invite you, and we are going to even close this conversation soon, because at the moment your emptiness and your unknowing are the most beautiful parts of you. You find them so ugly. You find them so undesirable. You feel a lesser human being because you don't know. You call yourself lost. We simply say you have an empty cup. And we hope we have made it clear to you that there's a certain kind of beauty and of grace, a profound sense of grace in the experience of not being sure, of not knowing. And again, I reiterate, here we're not talking about the things that you do and you don't take ownership for it and you say, I don't know why I'm doing this. We always, no matter whether you don't know what you're doing, you need to own what you choose to do. That's one of the laws of this planet, ownership. Everything here is about ownership. Every little piece of land, if you fly in the airplane, you see that. It looks like a cabbage patch. You know, everything is like little patches, like a beautiful quilt. Just like that. Everything is owned. It's mine. It's my puppies. It's my conversation. It's my cup of coffee. We know that it pulls at the deepest parts of you. And we know it raises resistance. And we know it raises you, it raises in you hatred. We know that, we can feel that. But it's not a reason to run away from your emptiness too soon. Give yourself the respect that you're entitled to, that you deserve for being in a place of not knowing. Give yourself enough time with an empty cup to allow for that cup to be filled with the very best quality of experience possible, instead of just substituting, compromising yourself, just to have a little bit, just to have a crumb. You know what it's like to make a choice as a substitute instead of waiting for something better. You just take what's there. You just take what you can here and now. It's not wrong. There's no right or wrong in this world. There's only a result. That's not wrong, but it does not put you in a cycle that you wish. It puts you in a cycle that you might have avoided if you chose differently. Because everything here on earth is about cycles. We have all the seasons that teaches us about the cycles. And so this time, we're asking something even bigger of you. We're asking you to change the way you think about yourself and about not knowing. Please, we ask you, instead of using the word lost, to use the word empty. You're not lost, you're empty. Yes, you're empty now. We feel that. And that is the only way to allow yourself to be filled with something superior than you used to have. If you want things to change, there must be some things that's going to stop happening. It must discontinue for change to be possible. So for the moment, we invite you to rest. It's okay not to move. It's okay to be unsure. You have a wonderful blank slate. Don't rush the filling of it. There are people living the kind of full and sure life that you think is amazing. And what are they desiring in their innermost hearts? They're desiring a bit of emptiness, a bit of space, a bit of just being, me time, a bit of people not wanting them all the time. So there is a beautifying and almost a deep sense of wonderment in where you are. But as we said earlier, we can only bring you that understanding, but it's you who chooses to be. Thank you. That's the writing. As I say, I have no idea where it comes from. It says simply at the start, it says, it was even the time is, I'm not on the screen at that time. Now the front page is even gone. So here it is. It says the empty cup, and it says share, and it says yesterday at 12:11 p.m. So no, camera, where are you? Yeah. And it's all these pages, and I loved sharing it with you. It was just absolutely wonderful. So let me continue to some of the thoughts that I wanted to share with you today. I started touching on the let me just see the time. Yeah, we've got some time left. So I started touching on the trance power, because someone asked the question, what is power? And I really want to pursue that in the series that I want to do on this platform in the future. So I really want to explore that subject. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful way to look at what we do here on earth. And then I came across these notes, and I've made them many years ago, where I wrote about trance power. And trance is the sacred way to power since the beginning of creation, since point zero. Plants go into trance. If that plant has got no leaves on it and it's just bare sticks, it's in a state of trance. Minerals are in trance. Crystals are constantly growing. Animals go into trance. Humans go into trance. Divinity is trance. So when you enter into this state of willingness, which is this unknowing, which is explained to us, because if you go into a state of trance, if you're going to experience dimensionality meaning that you are a multidimensional being, and that is the way we've been created, because you are operating in this body on this plane of existence, but at night when you sleep you go other places in the same body. Your body stays here, but there's a consciousness that goes and visits other aspects of you, which is the door to that is through your unconscious. It's through your unknowing. So you can't take that out of the equation if you want to be on a spiritual journey, if you want to be on a journey of knowing thyself. Trance is an absolute aspect of it, and that's why I encourage to do process work, where you can have the experience of that and experience what it has to offer you, because that's not something that I can determine. I can only hold the space for you. So, yeah, we often reference the work of other masters too, and this is clearly a master. I wouldn't be surprised if this is from my teacher on Astral, because that's the kind of things that John would share with me. So if it was you, John, thank you very much. I receive with grace. And so perhaps it was even my own son. So, and I always exclude him, but he's a very wise being. So we are in the process of talks now, which is going to explore fear and its varied aspects, because we want to now look at our power within that, because fear is a very real aspect of this earth plan, and it's not something that we can just do away with. So our fear often enters into our lives without us even realizing. It's present, it's active, and it's affecting us. And we're living in an environment too that is fraught with people who want to grab things from us, because that's what's happening to the earth now. It's going into grab fever. It's not the COVID virus. We're living in a state of acute grab fever. So because people cannot accept emptiness and they cannot accept the space of not having, they're all into a state of grabbing. So that is, I don't want to even enter into that energy, but the things, the way those kids' corpses were violated that recently died in East London by people just grabbing all the valuables off of their bodies while they were still busy dying. That was captured in closed circuit television. That's the level of the grab fever on our earth. That people will grab hair extensions off a dying girl. So you are sitting here with me today because we are going to explore how we can remove ourselves from this level of grab fever that is going on around us. Because in order to remove yourself from a reality, you need to go into a dimensionality. You need to live in a dimension which is different from where this grab fever is prevalent. And that doesn't mean that you choose to live in a different suburb. It means that you choose to live with a different state of consciousness, different moods, different ways in which life affects your everyday living, and the way in which you choose to handle the challenges that are presented to you by the life that you've chosen to live. Because every single choice that you have made in your life to date is giving you the experience that you're having today. And you can blame it on other people as much as you like, but you're still the one who finally chooses how to feel about it. So what is shared with you here today offers you the opportunity to radically improve your life, if you so choose. And I'm not sitting here in judgment of any of you that's on the screen, and I don't even know who's in my audience. I sent out about 40 odd invites every week to people because I choose to respect you with a personal invite. It's not something you pick up on social media and that you're going to come and sit with. You're invited here as a person, as a presence, as someone who's respected. And I teach best what I need to learn most, because I learn with you. So the reason many stay stuck is because they do not invite opportunities that offer clarity towards that which can really work for them. And most people expect, you're recording this, put it on YouTube, I'll watch it when I feel like it, or, it must always be convenient. It's not the things that you want that's going to serve your life is by no means going to be convenient. If you want convenience, you're going to get fast food. You can go to McDonald's. That's the kind of quality you can expect. There's no fast and quick results. If you choose not to be on a journey to know yourself, don't compare yourself to people who's been on a journey and who's invested in themselves consistently for many years, and you want to have the same result in your life, because it's not available. So your willingness to explore the gifts of seeing and gathering different ingredients to create a satisfying and enjoyable experience for yourself, to live the good life. And you can literally live the good life without having anything. If you look at Viktor Frankl, who wrote the book Man's Search for Meaning, when he was in a concentration camp, when he saw people giving their last piece of bread to another person to save their life, that's what he thought was, that's where you really see the meaning of life. So we are in the process. Life is a process. You never come to a workshop when you come and attend something in this space. It's not a workshop. Workshops is for cars. It's for machines. You're not a robot. This is part of a process. Yeah, we explore the process of life, the process of this earth, how we slot into it. Because just like a big spaceship, if you have a vehicle or a vessel, you have to dock, and they have to open a port for you to dock. So you need to give yourself a place every now and again where you can dock and where you can come and experience things that will give you some food for thought, food for your soul. So currently, we most suffer from feeling hunted down, stalked by all the work, the lack of consideration that prevail, and that is delivered in this hunted stalking of our time and resources. This feeling of lack of consideration, which causes us to engage in unnecessary action, creating even more pressure. So not seeing the path forward, we cannot see our way clear. Note the subliminal fear in what I'm saying. It's not overt, but it's all subliminal fear. It's all underneath the surface. Getting stuck in lack, desperately waiting to make things happen now, whilst obsessively attaching to an outcome. Only when this happens can I be happy. Only when I get that will I be satisfied. Only when my life looks like that, then I'll be able to experience myself. So it's always expectation, attachment, demands, control. And the fear is in the what if and in the if only. Then the tendency to constantly people please and deliberately put yourself last, to go into servitude. And if you want another word for it, slavery. This is a planet of slavery. It's been a planet of slavery before you and I were born. It's a planet of slavery going back to biblical times. It's a planet of slavery going back into the Vedas, into the Bhagavad Gita. It's what this place is about. It's how fear creeps in and deceptively enables you to put your worth last. The value you represent is diminished. The value that you represent is questioned when you put your worth last. Your levels of energy to persevere is severely attached. It's severely put to the test. How many times do you say, I can't do this anymore. I can't take this anymore. I can't. Your levels of energy is severely put to the test. Ultimately, you put your needs last. And it's all driven by fear. When you put yourself last in this way, you force yourself to operate on empty, depleted. And this is the emptiness that was just described to us here. You feel depleted, but you empty for a reason, but you're now choosing to do it through the gateway of fear. No. Fear, and you know the acronym, people say, false evidence appearing real. And the other one's fuck everything and run. It doesn't help to run away from your problems either, because you're just extending the distance between yourself and the solution as well. That's the other thing about this earth. Everything here is a paradox. Everything is a paradox. This applies as well as that. So you better get used to it. The greater the paradox, the closer you are to the truth. So look at what happens in this process that you choose to live. When you put yourself last in this way, you force yourself to operate on a sense of depletion. You refuse to listen. Your fear is rightness in action. Oh my gosh, I was so right this morning. I was now absolutely convinced. I'm not going to be able to do my go-to meeting. Nothing's working. I had another webinar that I was going to attend from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock when I start this, because sometimes things overlap, and I just wanted to see a little bit of that because it was about family constellation work, which I'm also very interested in. And then I couldn't log in there because my Gmail wouldn't open. And all I needed to do was to just reboot my system, my internet, because it was just, I don't know, nothing was happening. Be that as it may, fear is rightness in action. You do not respect or listen to anything, not even to your body. So you'll push yourself beyond its limits, and you actually starve your soul. You refuse its nourishment. You refuse to nourish your soul. And yes, the Cosmic Kitchen, we're nourishing your soul. It's free. You just need to be present. This is why it's so good to regularly visit the Cosmic Kitchen. Be honest with yourself and see how often you have a hard time even knowing what you really want. Mostly when I see people in this depleted state, I say to them, and what is it that you want? And they don't know, because they're in a state of emptiness. And in that state of emptiness, you're not going to know what you want, because the caterpillar doesn't know it's going to become a butterfly. We are born in forgetfulness. So, especially during times when you put yourself last and you compromise, you don't know what you want because you're so busy compromising yourself. You've forgotten about your own needs. You've forgotten about what you're entitled to. You're only entitled to something if you've worked for it. Then you have a right to it because it's ownership. Everything on earth is about ownership. If you've worked for it, you have a right to it. But you need to know that you have an entitlement. And if you have uncontested resentments and all this hatred, you are not going to know what you want. I'm telling you now. And uncontested resentments is like a muck. It's like a dirty pot that's been full of fat and it's standing in the kitchen and everything's like stuck. And you know that pot that you have to clean the next day after a braai or something, and it's just all this fat and stuckness? Like that. Like that. When you put yourself last and you compromise, that's what your life feels like. Stuck, muck and mire, uncontested resentments. When you are unaware, you do not know what you really want, and you often refuse support in that stage, because then is the fear of being wrong is at its highest. And that's the one thing that drives us all the time. We are so afraid that we're going to be wrong. Am I doing the right thing? Is this the right thing to do? The fear of being wrong is driving it, not the need to do things right. And yes, I suppose we can relate to doing things right or wrong, but it's not about that. It's about the result that you're going to give yourself, because there's always a consequence. And fear delivers you to guilt. It's like a kind of stigma, a weird stigma about enjoying life, a weird stigma about having a good life, having good things, enjoying when your cup is full, because it's a cycle. And now, providing for yourself, because surely, there's someone that's going to need it more than you. You can't think that way. You've got to have respect, because that's one of the rules on this earth. As you sow, so you shall reap. And we must have respect for that. Let's explore some indicators. I trust that you're all still on the same page with me, but I'm just going to continue. I see we've got a nice group here tomorrow. 13, such a lucky number. So how much do you complain about things? How much do you feel displeased and upset about what you think is wrong? Fear in action. Fear in action. And I did a whole session. On it's all in your mind with my group the other day. Just to illustrate how much of it is in your mind. Honestly, it's got nothing to do with reality. It's in your mind because there is always a way. Doesn't matter what it is, there is always a way. That's how it works here on Earth. When people went and explored new continents, there was always a way. And when there's fear in action, look at the process. It tells you, I am not going to get what I need to be able to survive. I'm not going to get what I need in order to continue my life. The fear of being wrong. And then what follows? You feel left out. More fear because you feel overlooked, you feel excluded from good stuff because everybody else has got it but not you. Everybody else can have a loving relationship but not you. Everybody else can have a wonderful job but not you. But right now, what you forget is that your process might be in the cycle of the butterfly. You might be in metamorphosis. You might be in that stage where things are going to feel like it's empty, where it's going to feel like it's nothing. But if you have an entitlement, if you've worked for it, if you've earned it by your own life, it's yours. It's got your fingerprints on it. It can go to no one else. Your energy stamp is on that. But don't sit back and expect life to deliver for you, because that's unfortunately how the children of today have been raised. It's instant gratification and someone else will do it for me. That is not the prevailing energy on this earth. And if you're going to go forward with that, you're not going to make it here. My own son was like that. He absolutely insisted that things must happen his way and that, that's the way it is. And it's adapt or die. And he died. At age 27, he checked out. He wasn't prepared to do it. And he wasn't prepared to acknowledge that as you sow, so you reap. He always blamed everybody else and never accepted responsibility for anything that he did. And not because I didn't teach him, but my mother was the one who cared for him every day, and she used to tell him, don't listen to your mother, she doesn't know what she's talking about. And there are many people out there who says the same thing about what I'm saying. She doesn't know what she's talking about. That's all right. There's the result. At 27, you checked out because life was too much for you. And I actually said, watch the company that you keep because it can cost you your life. And it did. Cost him his life. And what was his fear? His fear was that he was overlooked. He was excluded from the good stuff because he believed that I didn't want him. But he never took ownership for the way that he behaved in my space and for the way he conducted himself with me. That was also my fault. How often do you refuse? When this excluded feeling, when this I'm by myself, I've got no one, nobody cares, I'm always the fuck up, I'm the one, da 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 da. Look what it makes you do. How often do you refuse? Leave me alone. Don't touch me. Don't look at me. Don't this, because what you're actually saying is, show me how much you want me. But you say, leave me alone. Futsak. Whether you say it or not, you feel it. You mean it and you emit it. And this time, you crave closeness when you're saying these things. You crave caring, but you withhold the truth. And instead, you own the fear of the withhold because now you're experiencing separation. Because withhold can only ever deliver separation. That's the result. Finished. Go withhold and see the result for yourself. It's an absolute. You withhold something. If I'm withholding the remote, There's separation between me and changing the channel. If I withhold the coffee, there's difference between me, a separation between me and making myself a cup of coffee because I refuse to buy coffee. I withhold the coffee from myself. So then I create separation. If you withhold anything, you create separation. It's not about withholding. It's about having respect for the process. It's what you withholding that creates the separation to start with. And that's also a source of your fear. Because some of you withhold success from yourself this way. And let me tell you something. I have withheld success from myself for many, many years of my life until I realized it's not about success. Once you experience how significant you are, you will never ever chase after success again, because success is a man-made thing on earth. Success doesn't exist in nature. Nature is not chasing success. Nature is success happening right now because it shows you the result. Nature is significant in our life. Without nature, we wouldn't be here. Look at Mars. There's no nature on Mars. It's just red soil. People make mistakes. What happens when someone makes a mistake and it affects you? A mistake can be made by anyone. We are all making known the unknown. You don't know if you make a choice, you don't know what result you're going to get until you've lived the result, isn't it? You can't determine beforehand how it's going to turn out. It never happens the way you think anyway. So anyone can make a mistake. But a mistake repeated is not a mistake. It's a choice. If you make a mistake, you make it once and you don't make that same mistake again. That's when you grow. That's when you can really rely on metamorphosis to turn you into a butterfly, when you don't repeat your mistakes. And it's your mistakes, when you keep repeating the mistakes, that's when you're going to fear, because you know the consequences waiting for you when you make mistakes. Because if you make it more than once, you will know. But as long as there's somebody who's going to fix and rescue you, you're not going to learn from any of your mistakes because you'll keep making them. Why should you change? Someone's going to fix it. Consciously aware of your choice. If you're going to repeat the same thing over and over and over again, you know the old, by now it's already luck. Yeah. You know what Einstein says, you keep doing the same thing, don't expect a different result. That's insanity. Because people do the same thing over and over and over, but they keep putting the same ingredients into the hands of life, but they expect this wonderful Black Forest cake. Chateau, whatever the cakes are that people rave about these days. Chateau, gâteau. Magnificent big cake. Huh? You want to make one of those with all these fraught ingredients that you put in the hand of life. Doesn't work like that, sorry. A mistake normally puts us in shock. We're in fear of being wrong. And mistakes are associated with fear and punishment. Since we were young, when we made a mistake, we got punished. When we did something wrong, we got punished. My dogs get punished if they do something wrong. In this case, if they pee on my carpets. Mistakes are learned from. You burned with the steam that comes out the kettle. You ain't going to do it the second time. You bump your little toe in the dark. You ain't going to do it the second time. The second time you bring yourself such discomfort, that consequence is your choice. And let me tell you, even unconsciousness is a choice. Because your essence is innocence. Excuse me. Puppies? No. You are pure, the eternal child. Unless you become like a child, you will never know the true power of play. So when bad things happen and you do not understand why is it happening to me? Fear teaches confusion. Because you're not sure if it's bad. I shouldn't do this. What's going on? Am I doing the right thing? There's a little book that I wrote on my Cosmic Kitchen website, worldwideweb.cosmickitchen.co.za. There's a couple of books on there that's supposed to be downloaded free of charge. I don't think anybody's ever downloaded anything there, and I have no idea how it works. So I went and checked, they're still there. So I don't know if you can download them. But anyway, fear insists that you cannot offend. You cannot be wrong, because fear doesn't want you to be wrong. It wants you to feed. You must be absolutely sure. There's fear in the pain of saying no. If you need to say no to what's not working, saying no, especially to having more passengers on your bus. And then, of course, there's still the need for example, because being an example is an intrinsic need that's been planted in every single human being. But in this grab fever, the need for example is completely and utterly dissolved. That intrinsic need is completely ignored. And now kids go and steal and they do things because they think that that's how you're being an example. Because it demands in this fearful state that you fix and rescue others' lives and attracting needy and inconsiderate people, loading you with have-tos. Fear prevents accountability. Fear prevents responsibility. Fear prevents ownership. Fear is a form of possession. It creates possession because fear wants you to have everything so that you can have all these possessions to make you feel sure. And you even become possessed by your neuroses, by your psychosis, because you're so attached to the outcome. And what I'm saying to you now today, and I'm almost done, what I'm saying to you now, and life is showing me that highly successful individuals, successful by the standards of this life, is in a quandary about their future. They dread living the good life. And the good life is constantly beckoning them, and they dread living it. I cannot use what I have. What if it runs out? What if I'm left with nothing? Life does not work this way. Life does not work this way. It's all in your mind. Life always replenishes. Life always rewards. It always rewards, but it's going to reward you according to what you've sown, because that's the law. As you sow, so you reap. The mirror is in front of you. What you put in that mirror, the mirror shows you back. There's an echo in the mountains. What you scream with your mouth is returned to you in exact the same form. It was one of my bestest when I was a child to listen to my own echo in the mountain. The water of a still lake, a lake that is in total stillness, is a complete mirror to what is above. Above can see itself in that mirror, just the way that you can see yourself in the mirror of life every day. It doesn't switch on and off. Greg Biden says, there's the angels of the heaven and there are the beasts of the earth. Now, the metaphor angels of the heaven is a metaphor for higher consciousness, for the highly evolved being. And I promised that I would still read you the words of Neil Donald Walsh about a highly evolved being. I don't know if I'm going to have time to do it today, so it'll have to stand over for next time. I don't see it. Yeah, let me just see. But be that as it may, the highly evolved being is the angels of the heaven. So it's a highly evolved being that lives with a higher level of consciousness. And higher not meaning as in opposed to lower, but higher means in a state of more expansiveness. I don't know what I've done with it. Not meant to share it today. So angels of the heaven lives with the power of speech. They live with discriminating intellect. They have the power of upright walk and the power of glance of our eyes. You can look at stuff. The power of glance of our eyes. And if you say a blind person doesn't have it, I assure you they do. They just do it differently too. And the beasts of the earth. That's the choice. We can either live as the angels of heaven or we can live as the beast of the earth. The beasts of the earth live to eat and drink. They excrete. Look at the way that we're excreting on this planet at the moment. We are contaminating everything with garbage and with plastic. They excrete. The beasts of the earth excrete. They propagate. Go walk in the streets of New York and see how the rats propagate. It's a major problem, and they're massive things. And the beasts of the earth are subject to the choice of death, because the beasts of the earth are subject to decay, to coming to an end. So you can choose, and he says, but Greg Baden says in his talk, you can choose to live as angels, or you can choose to die as beasts. I love Greg Baden, he's a wonderful teacher. You can live as angels, or you can die as beasts. I conclude with that today. And I thank you for coming to sit here with me and to receive this message for our lives for this coming weeks, to energize us within so that we can find our own courage and that we can be brave in the face of everyday life, a life that is fraught with grab fever all over the world. So thank you for your presence here today, and live like the angels of the heavens and choose not to be part of the beasts of the earth. I thank you, and may you be blessed, and may your life show you wonderful surprises every day. Be good to yourself.